I like to call neurology the ultimate capital in life. The reason for that is I think it's more valuable than money, what education you have, or where you brought up, and I'm going to explain why. First, let me say that neurology, what is it? For me, it's how healthy a person's brain is. And so if you think about if neurology is bad, the worst form of that is neurological disease, right? So you think about people that have dementia and Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and how awful that is. I would much rather have a debilitating physical disease, even like a cancer or something, than to have my brain eroded away. Because once your brain is eroded away, like there's no point, like you don't have real relationships. You know, you're just an invalid in my view. And I've been on the cusp of that. Like I would never say I was at that extreme, but I've cycled in and out of lesser versions of that. I just think neurology is this invisible thing that rules over all else, right? It rules over your relationships. It rules over your happiness. It rules over your ability to do things you enjoy. Even if you have money, you're only going to enjoy it if you have your neurology. There'll be so many examples of older folks who've got dementia and things, and they don't care about their money because they can no longer enjoy it, really. So I feel like my experience has really taught me a lot about neurology and what it is and how it impacts you. Because I've been on this roller coaster where I was really screwed up in 14, in the middle of 14, started coming back, and it was good again at 15, and then was bad and good and bad and good and bad and good many years. And then I've been, finally figured it out in 21, and I've been uphill ever since. But I've seen the patterns of what happens and how it impacts your relationships, how it impacts your career. And I've seen this multiple times, right? Like I would do something ambitious because I was feeling good, and then I would start to feel bad, or my neurology would decline, and like it became impossible to do. Trying to manage a lot of responsibility where human beings are involved when your neurology is in decline is next to impossible. Like you will screw those relationships up. I've seen that time and again. And I was always like, relationships always came very natural to me. When I was young, I was a very social guy. It's one of the reasons why I was able to travel so much. I traveled to over 90 countries, by the time around of about 30 years old. And the reason was I just, I made friends easily, and I could create new friendships and relationships very easily. So neurology was always an asset. And it was when I lost it in 14 that I was like, wow, I became a hermit for a while, and it became impossible to make friends. And I saw this completely different perspective in life and began to understand some of the other people that were like that most of their lives or their entire life, and that it wasn't their fault because it was physical. My family in Japan is a good example of this. I visited them a little while ago, and my mother has a bunch of brothers and sisters. They all have families. Most of them live in Kyoto. Some of them live in Osaka. Some folks live in Tokyo. And I hadn't seen them in 13 years. And here I expected to get together and see them all in one place, have some kind of like dinner. And we did that, but about half the family was missing. And half the family was missing because this person doesn't talk to that person, and this other person doesn't talk to that person. And it turned out that like I hadn't seen these folks in 13 years, but they had like a lot of them hadn't even seen each other in 13 years, despite the fact that they lived, 10, 20 blocks away from each other. And that is neurology. Right? Like people think, oh, that person just didn't get along with that person. I can tell you, like, the foundation of that is someone has, or both of the people have, some neurological, like, they seem normal and healthy, but their neurology is eroding. Like, unless the person really, really hurts you, like, you just look past it. And I'm saying this out of experience, right? I've damaged relationships with my mom and my parents. For a while, like, I didn't even want to speak with my mom. And everything she said would just kind of annoy me. And now, she's saying the same things, like, and it never annoys me. I just have a very different perspective. And like, it would be almost impossible for her to piss me off anytime in the last couple of years. And it's not like I changed my philosophy. I just got healthier, right? And I've seen that in other aspects of my life, my career, whatnot. So when your neurology gets healthy, you just don't have these stupid fights. Because you kind of understand that, like, the person doesn't even bother you as much. This is why people that lead large organizations are typically neurologically very healthy, because they can deal with different types of people really well. Usually it's not some like talent. It's just that they're neurologically healthy, and that is how it works, right? And so now relationships to me come so much easier than 3 or 4 years ago. Like I don't have to try again. 4 years ago, like I would have to try so hard to build a relationship that I wanted to have. And, you know, it almost probably came off needy, but that's how it works. Like I've been through this cycle multiple times. And the other thing I would say is when you're healthy, more people want to be involved in your life, right? Like look at people that seem very popular, right? Show me a person that draws other people to them naturally, and I will show you a very healthy person neurologically and most likely physically, because they go hand in hand. And therefore, it's not some God-given talent, right? And when things start collapsing for them, and I've seen numerous examples of this, like you can look at Hollywood actors that have basically become hermits despite the fact that they were extremely charismatic earlier in life. So I think everybody accepts that with age, people change. And these people that were very charismatic and, you know, drew people to them can lose that ability with age. There are numerous examples of that. And it's not the age, it is the neurology, right? And I've seen that because without aging that much, I went up and down. Like I improved it numerous times. So it cannot be purely aging. It has to be neurology. I like to say that neurology is what truly makes you rich because, you know, even if you have money, like neurology is the stuff that gives you ambition, right? I am very happy these days. Yeah, we're comfortable, but we're not like, it's not because I have a ton of money. It's more that I'm hungry, right? Like we're comfortable. And at this point in my life, I'm 47 years old, I am as driven as I was at 25. And that feels amazing, right? Like I have no desire to retire and sit on a beach, right? Like I am going to make up for 10 years of going in circles with this shit. And I love that I have that like energy and ambition. And behind that is a much steadier foundation of neurology. And I can tell you, when I was unhealthy in 2020, it was like when you're in that state, like all your brain wants to do is think of, okay, how can I kind of like find a quick way to retire? And that was like my brain. It was like this endless loop. It was like, okay, I gotta like retire. And as soon as I got healthy, it was like, fuck that. Like, I don't want to retire. I want to do a lot more shit. And that's just how it works. I introduced you guys to this idea of neurology and that it's foundational to happiness and drive, relationships, and that you can start to feel whether you're healthy or getting healthier or getting worse, and that this is what makes you rich in life more than anything else.